The Sikkim flood was a tragic event that occurred on 3rd October 2023 this year when a glacial lake in the Himalayas burst its banks and released a massive amount of water downstream. The flood caused widespread damage and loss of life in the state of Sikkim, especially in the areas along the Tista River. The flood also destroyed the Tista Dam number 3, the largest hydropower project in Sikkim. The exact cause of the Glacial Lake outburst flood (GLOF) is still under investigation, but some possible factors are excess rainfall. The region received heavy rainfall in the days preceding the flood, which may have increased the water level and pressure in the glacial lake. Then, avalanche or landslide. A sudden movement of snow, ice, or rock may have triggered a wave in the lake or breached the natural dam that held the water. And the third cause may be climate change, the warming of the Earth's atmosphere and surface has accelerated the melting of glacier, creating more and large glacial lakes that pose a high risk of outburst. The Sikkim flood was one of the worst disasters of its kind in recent history, and it highlights the need for better monitoring and management of glacial lakes and their potential hazards. It also raises questions about the sustainability and safety of hydropower projects in the Himalayan region, which is prone to seismic and climate disturbances. Uh, the Sikkim flood and the Kedarnath flood are similar in some ways, but different in others. Here are some points of comparison. First, I am telling about the similarities. Both floods were caused by glacial lake outburst floods (GLOFs), which occur when a glacial lake overflows or breaks its natural dam, releasing a large amount of water and debris downstream. Number two, similarity that both floods occurred in the Himalayan region, which is highly vulnerable to climate change and glacial melting. The Himalayas have lost about 13% of their glacial area between 1960 and 2000 and are losing mass at the rate of 6.6 gigatons. 6.6 gigatons per year. Both floods resulted in widespread damage and loss of life, affecting infrastructure, agriculture, and livelihoods. The Sikkim flood killed at least 34 people and damaged the Tista 3 Dam, the largest hydropower project in Sikkim. The Kedarnath flood killed more than 6,000 people and destroyed the Kedarnath temple, a sacred Hindu pilgrimage site. Only a large stone behind the Kedarnath temple protected the temple itself. Uh, that is to be mentioned here. And the differences between Sikkim flood and Kedarnath flood are like this. Number one, the Sikkim flood was triggered by a combination of GLOF and excess rainfall, while the Kedarnath flood was triggered by a GLOF alone. The Sikkim flood occurred in October, which is not a typical monsoon season, while the Kedarnath flood occurred in June, which is a peak monsoon season. The second difference is that the Sikkim flood originated from the South Lonak Lake, which is located at an altitude of 5,200 meters above sea level, while the Kedarnath flood originated from the Chorabari Lake, which is located at an altitude of 3,900 meters above sea level. The higher the altitude, the more potential energy of water has, and the more destructive the flood can be. The Sikkim flood affected mainly the Tista River basin, which covers part of Sikkim and West Bengal, while the Kedarnath flood affected mainly the Mandakini and Alaknanda River basin, which covers part of Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. The Tista River is tributary of the Brahmaputra River, while the Mandakini and Alaknanda rivers are tributaries of the Ganga River. Now I am going to the next point that that is the glacial lake outburst floods. GLOFs are a serious threat to the environment and human lives, as well as the economy. They can cause massive damage to infrastructure, agriculture, and livelihoods, as well as increase the risk of landslides, erosion, and sedimentation. Therefore, it is important to prevent or mitigate the impacts of GLOFs as much as possible. According to the web search result, there are several possible methods for preventing the or reducing the effects of GLOFs, such as number one, lowering the water level of glacial lakes. This is the most effective way to reduce the risk of GLOFs, as it reduces the pressure and volume of water that can be released in case of a dam failure. This can be done by controlling breaching, pumping, siphoning, or diverting water out of the lake, or by digging a tunnel through the moraine barrier, or sorry, or under the ice dam. Strengthening number two, I am suggesting to prevent the GLOFs, that is strengthening the moraine dams. This can help to increase the stability and resilience of the natural dams that hold back the glacial lakes. This can be done by reinforcing the dam with concrete rocks or steel, or by installing drainage pipes or spillways to regulate the water flow. Number three measure can be taken, and my suggestion is that monitoring and early warning systems. This can help to detect any sign of potential GLOF events, such as changes in water level, temperature, or turbidity, or seismic or acoustic signals. This can be done by using remote sensing, drones, sensors, or cameras to collect and analyze data, and by establishing communication networks and protocols to alert and evacuate the downstream communities in case of an emergency. And the last one, according to me, the measure can be taken like this: land use planning and disaster preparedness. This can help to reduce the exposure and vulnerability of the people and assets that are at risk of GLOFs. This can be done by avoiding or relocating settlements, infrastructures, and activities from the flood prone areas, or by building protective signatures such as embankments, levees, or flood walls. It can also be done by raising awareness and education among the local communities and authorities, and by developing contingency plans and response strategies for GLOF scenario. These are some of the possible ways to prevent the mitigate the impacts of GLOFs, but they are not easy or cheap to implement. They require scientific knowledge, technical expertise, financial resources, political will, and community participation. They also need to be integrated with the broader goals of climate change and adaptation and sustainable development. That is, please mark these two words. That is, those are sustainable development. You develop the area, but with preservation and conservation of the natural things what we have got from God. Therefore, it is a complex and challenging task that requires collaboration and coordination among various stakeholders at local, national, and international levels. Then I am coming to the uh, to this another point that I must say that the development of the city amenities such as roads, buildings, and unauthorized constructions may have some negative impacts on the environment of the hill areas such as Sikkim and Uttarakhand. According to the wave search results, the, the possible impacts are loss of natural habitats and biodiversity, the construction and expansion of the city, the government and the people of India must give some weightage to these points, please. The construction and expansion of the city amenities may encroach upon the natural habitats of the flora and fauna in the hill areas, such as forest, grasslands, wetlands, etc. This may lead to the loss of biodiversity, fragmentation of ecosystems, and disruption of ecological functions and services. Soil erosion and landslides, the construction and expansion of the city amenities may disturb the soil structure and stability in the hill areas, especially on the slopes and terraces. This may increase the risk of soil erosion and landslides, which can damage the infrastructure, agriculture, and human lives. Then, water pollution and scarcity. The construction and expansion of the city amenities may generate a lot of waste and pollutants, such as sewage, solid waste, chemicals, etc., which may contaminate the water sources and quality in the hill areas, such as rivers, lakes, springs, etc. This may affect the health and livelihoods of the people and animals that depend on the water. Moreover, the construction and expansion of the city amenities may also increase the demand and consumption of water, which may create water scarcity and conflict in the hill areas. Then, my last point is that air pollution and climate change, the construction and expansion of the city amenities may produce a lot of emissions and greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, etc., which may pollute the air and contribute to global warming and climate change. This may affect the weather patterns and temperature in the hill areas and cause more extreme events such as droughts, floods, storms, etc. Therefore, the development of the city amenities may have some adverse effects on the environment of the hill areas, and it should be done with caution and care. It should be balanced with the conservation and restoration of the natural resources and ecosystems in the hill areas, and the participation and empowerment of the local communities in the planning and management of the development activities. Then, my suggestion regarding actually what happens, the expansion of city in the hill areas are mainly due to tourism, development of the tourism to accommodate largest number of tourists uh, who are going there, and show what happens. The roads are without seeing the without considering the natural effects. uh, the roads are uh, construction of the roads, buildings, hotels, and the bio waste are becoming more and more. So my solution is the my suggestion uh, for the solution of this type of expansion of the tourism, that is ecotourism. And I must say, to explain ecotourism, that ecotourism is a form of tourism that aims to conserve and enhance the natural and cultural heritage of a destination while providing benefits to the local communities and minimizing the negative impacts of tourism. Ecotourism can be developed in the hill areas as they offer a unique opportunity to showcase the rich biodiversity, scenic beauty, and cultural diversity of the mountain regions. However, ecotourism should be developed with care and sensitivity, as the hill areas are also fragile and vulnerable to environmental and social disturbances. According to the research results, some of the possible benefits of ecotourism in the hill areas are economic benefits. Ecotourism can generate income and employment for the local people, especially the rural and indigenous communities, by providing them with opportunities to participate in the tourism value chain, such as guides, homestays, handicrafts, organic farming, etc. Ecotourism can also diversify the tourism products and markets and increase the competitiveness and resilience of the hill destination. Then another benefit is that of ecotourism, that is environmental benefits. Ecotourism can promote the conservation and restoration of the natural resources and ecosystems in the hill areas, such as forest, wildlife, water, soils, etc. Ecotourism can also raise the awareness and education among the tourists and the locals about the importance and value of the environment, and encourage them to adopt sustainable practices and behaviors. Then, last benefit which I can find, that is social and cultural benefits. Ecotourism can enhance the social and cultural well-being of the hill communities by respecting and preserving their traditions, customs, languages, etc., arts also. Ecotourism can also foster cross cultural understanding and appreciation among the tourists and the locals, and create a sense of pride and identity for the hill people. However, ecotourism also poses some challenges and risks for the hill areas, such as overdevelopment and overcrowding. Ecotourism can lead to the loss of natural and cultural charm and authenticity of the hill destinations if they are not planned and managed properly. Ecotourism can also create pressure and stress on the carrying capacity and infrastructure of the hill areas, such as roads, water, electricity, waste, etc., and cause congestion, pollution, and degradation, exploitation, and marginalization. Ecotourism can result in the unequal distribution of the benefits and cost of tourism among the hill stakeholders, especially the poor and marginalized groups such as women, children, ethnic minorities, etc. etc. Ecotourism can also expose the hill communities to external influences and threats, such as uh, commodification means that the local people will be more attracted to the commodities which are very bad effect on the plain and simple living of the local people. And then uh, ecotourism can also expose the communities to external influence and threats. That already I have told that commodification, commercialization, acculturation. Acculturation. This is the word that is very new. I have found during my search that acculturation, etc., and erode their rights and control over their resources and culture. Therefore, ecotourism should be developed in the hill areas with a holistic and participatory approach that balances the economic, environmental, and social aspects of tourism and ensures the involvement and empowerment of the hill communities in the planning, implementation, and monitoring of the tourism activities. Ecotourism should also follow the principles and guidelines of sustainable tourism, such as minimizing the negative impacts, maximizing the positive impacts, and enhancing the quality and satisfaction of the tourists and the locals. Thank you very much for lending your ears to me. Thank you again.